As we have been reporting, early voting in the mayoral election was the highest ever for early in-person voting in a non-presidential election. The Board of Elections tells us that more than 735,000 New Yorkers have already cast their ballots in the 9 days of early voting. One of the factors driving voters to the polls early is younger New Yorkers wanting to get in there and cast their ballots before Tuesday. Voters 55 and under made up more than half of the early turnout. Ages 25 to 34 made up 20% of early voters. Older voter turnout was higher in the first few days of the early voting period, but the Board of Elections data show that more young people voted this weekend. So the data is really interesting to delve into and what it could mean for the way the election ends up. Joining me now to talk about this, Rachel Gianfazza. She is the founder of the Up and Up Strategies, a research and consulting firm that focuses on reaching Gen Z. And she's come on the Rush Hour many times, is back now to share your insight on this election. Great to see you, Rachel.
Thank you for having me, Annika.
So when you look at that early voting data, what does it tell you?
I'm just seeing a lot of excitement, and I've heard from people who work with young voters in the past that they actually usually expect more youth voter turnout on election day. And so I think if we're seeing this spike in younger voters showing up earlier, it actually shows that there could potentially just be super high youth turnout across the board. And I've been covering this for my newsletter, The Up and Up. There is a lot of youth excitement behind Zohran Mamdani. I know everyone's been talking about it here as well. And so I think whether you're looking at social media and what people are posting, showing that they're voting early or that they're excited to vote on election day, there is just no denying that there's a lot of excitement to get out there in this election for young people.
What is it about Mamdani as a candidate that has sparked such excitement and interest among younger voters?
Yeah, I think if you think about Gen Z and their voting history, this is a bloc that usually feels they're voting against something. But with Zohran Mamdani, he has given many young people something that they feel they're voting for. And with a laser focus on affordability, the cost of living, rent, and really just how expensive it is to be a young person today, that's what I'm hearing as the top concern for young people. And this generation is not a monolith. Gen Z voters in New York City are not a monolith. There's certainly a support for other candidates as well. But I think the support for Mamdani, the young people I've spoken to, and I held a listening session with a group of Mamdani voters last week, there's just an urge, an excitement, a vision for something new and a change from the past, which many feel that Cuomo represents. Whereas for young people I've spoken to who are voting for Cuomo, it does feel a little more they're voting against something. And I think that's what speaks about how excited young people are about Mamdani.
Part of what Cuomo has really tried to do is to convince voters that Mamdani is too inexperienced and too young to execute on the plans that he's promising. Are you seeing that resonate with the young voters that you've been speaking with?
No, I'm really seeing a generational divide in my conversations with young people. They've expressed this of what they're feeling, where they recognize that some of Mamdani's policy proposals are pie in the sky ideas and are, there's been critiques that these ideas may not be able to actually be put into practice. But when I asked them, are you concerned with that? They said no, because he expresses a level of humility. And what they meant by that was that he said, if this doesn't get passed, we'll try something else. And they really appreciate that. This generation is looking for bold new ideas, even if they might not be the most practical. They trust that he will have a solution and that at least he's offering something that's different from the alternative.
A lot of young voters, to your point, have been engaged in this campaign, and also to your point, that they are not all Mamdani supporters. While they have, Hot Girls for Zohran, which is getting a lot of attention, there's also Cool Girls for Capitalism supporting Cuomo. Talk about these types of groups. How influential are they? Are they just slogans, or are they actually gaining some traction?
Yeah, I think what's been so unique about this campaign is the blend of online organizing and in-person activation. And I think that there's young people recognize that this is necessary, and the young people who are supporting both candidates and some of the more active ones have been really spearheading these initiatives. We started to see this type of engagement happening during the I'd say 2020 elections, 2024 election, with kind of these trendy campaigns that young people organize behind a specific candidate. And we're seeing the candidates get into it as well. I mean, over the weekend, I kept seeing videos of Mamdani out and about throughout the city, going to bars, and even saw a video from the marathon of him people who were running, stopping to take selfies with him when he was on the sidelines. And I think it just goes back to the blend of you have to have the online and the virality, but you also have to have the on the ground game. And that is something that Mamdani has done very impressively. And when I've spoken to young people about this, they say, look, his videos are amazing. They especially appreciate videos of him going around to New Yorkers and listening and documenting that and showing it and showing that he's a real New Yorker riding the subway, things like that. But they also said he's there in person with them, and that's what he's showing online. And so they too recognize the need for some of these more catchier, viral, social strategies, but also the in-person organizing.
In our final seconds here, are there lessons from his campaign and the way he's handled it that future candidates can take from?
Yes. I think that his focus on affordability and the cost of living is the #1 thing that any politician, left, right, anywhere in between, should focus on. Young people, their #1 issue is the economy. They are feeling pressed across the board, and they want someone who's going to bring change. And anyone who wants to resonate with young voters should take a learning from that.
Plus get good on social media, plus have a strong ground campaign.
It all is working for him, but
yeah. Rachel Janfaza of Up and Up Strategies, thank you.
Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage, and click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.